Welcome, everybody, to the Pro Wrestling Sheet SmackDown Live recap for today and this week. Hey, I am your host, John Rocha, joined as always by the CEO of the Pro Wrestling Sheet over there, Ryan Satin. How are you? Wearing the hat.
I am wearing the hat. I'm still, I need to cut my hair soon, and so it's still messy. It's still crazy. I don't know. I got to figure it out.
This is a running thing.
It's a mess, man. Well, because when I first started here with Collider, I right before that I had a man bun, and I wanted to get rid of the man bun. Mm-hmm. I wanted to have full long hair again, so I shaved my head basically, and then it's taken kind of under 7 months now, and it's taken me this long to get back here. But I finally hit my breaking point. I think I need a more professional cut. So I just hate doing my hair.
You just got to do a first hair match and shave that thing off. Whoever loses has
hair
to shave
versus
it.
mask.
Hair versus mask. Exactly, and get that hair shaved off. I get it though. It does. I've never had long hair like this. I tried it one time and it became like a Monchichi, and I was like, never again. So I keep it short, high and tight. The military thing never leaves me.
Yeah, I mean, you were a military guy, so that makes sense.
I was. Well, speaking of hair that is cut. Certainly Shane McMahon's hair was cut. He started off SmackDown here with a great promo talking about his heel turn and why he did what he did. Ryan, what did you think of was this the right way to start Raw coming out of
SmackDown?
SmackDown coming out of Fastlane.
Yes, I think so. I think the one burning question, the thing everyone wanted to know was like what Shane was gonna say about the turn on Miz. I mean, the other one's Kofi. I shouldn't say the one thing. Right. Everything with Kofi is the other thing, obviously.
Kofi, Shane, and the man. They wanted to hear from all three of them.
Exactly. Yeah. Precisely. So I think it was smart to kind of start off with Shane because that was the most surprising thing. Yeah. Not surprising because they've been
one of them was going to do it.
One of them was going to do it.
You knew one of them was going to do it. It was surprising that it was Shane a little more than Miz.
Correct. And I think that you know, the way they played it up where he brought Greg Hamilton in the ring and then was doing it again like he did with Miz's dad, where he was doing better and he was holding him in the face and stuff. I loved it. I really think that, we were talking about, I think it was with Ryback when I was doing his show. He and I were talking about the fact that Shane just really hasn't been a heel in like 18 years, like so long. Yeah. And it's a welcome change, I think. Mm-hmm. I think that, as much as Shane was good, as much as Shane did what he needed to do in the role he's been given since he came back, I really do think that he was getting cheered for most of that time largely based on his past, his willingness to do the coast to coast still and jump off cages and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think he's really been booked as a strong face character since he came back at all. And I really feel like Cocky Shane, similar to Ronda, I feel like Cocky Shane is where his sweet spot. Yeah. He was never really a good guy before. Yeah. And I feel like that was kind of been evident this whole time. And I think that heel Shane, he gets to kind of have fun. He gets to be the young version of Vince. He gets to be just the total asshole boss. And to me, it seemed like he had missed doing it. Yeah.
Well, and it's a great heel change for him also because if you remember the heel stuff from back when it was The Rock and the corporation and all that kind of stuff, you loved it. It was great. He was a lot of fun. He was willing to be the butt of the joke. Yep. But now it's 18 years later. What's this heel turn going to look like? What's this heel turn going to be? Is it going to be like his dad, or is it going to have Shane's little variations? Remember the whole thing when he came back, Shane with his kids and his wife and, coming back as an older man, doing it, all this kind of jazz. He's been in training. So now what kind of role is he going to play? Because remember, they had Paige step down as GM, and of course, that makes a lot of sense now with the Fighting with the Family tour and all that kind of jazz. She probably wouldn't have as much time to go to house shows. So you see this, but what role is Shane going to play? Because Shane's in charge of the company now, right, of the SmackDown brand side of things. So is he going to be a heel in booking matches? Is he going to be a heel and be favored? Like, what is this whole situation? Because obviously they're going to fight WrestleMania. What's the result going to be of that? If Miz beats him, what's the stipulation? There has to be a stipulation, I would imagine.
If Miz beats him?
Shane.
You think Miz will get control of the show?
Control of the show, which would be great. It's like next level for Miz because they've kind of put him on the back burner with this whole storyline over the last few months.
I think what they get from Miz out of this is face Miz finally. We've never really seen face Miz. I don't think necessarily they're gonna wrestle for control of the show. I feel like it's gonna be more so. I almost wonder if it's more to make Ms. and Mrs. more of a show that has to be watched.
Okay. On USA?
On USA.
Yeah.
Because
certainly possible.
Because I feel like, the heels being the, two heels being the focus of a show where, the main character is supposed to have likability factor.
Yeah.
I feel like them being heels makes the show a little less popular, possibly.
Were the Bellas heels when they were doing Total Divas? Because they were the selling point in the initial seasons of Total Divas. Cena was in it, so you had the face of Cena.
Cena wasn't in it right away, I don't think.
Okay.
Was he? I'm trying to remember the early days of Total Divas now.
I just know that it was like there wasn't really face heel necessarily amongst the ladies, even though they were playing that on the screen. There wasn't really the face heel thing, and then of course that kind of crept in with the woman we interviewed. Oh my God, my brain today. With
Eva Marie.
Yeah, Eva Marie. She was kind of slowly playing a little bit of the heel there.
I think the difference factor is that the Bella twins are gorgeous women.
Sure, fair point. Well, so is Maurice.
But
Miz is good looking too.
Yeah, but it's also.
But your logic makes sense because in the history of wrestling, heels don't sell as much merch as face.
That's kind of how I look at it.
Maybe that's the smart move.
And I also think with Total Divas, it was a hodgepodge of heels and faces.
Right. You had a good mix.
New faces, people you'd seen. So
right.
I don't think it's quite the same because this show doesn't have a cast of characters. It's Miz and Maurice.
Right, it's just them. And they're what they do, yeah.
So that's kind of why I think that's what their end game was in all of this, was to kind of like get Shane to be a heel again, get Miz to be a face to help, because this is all coinciding with Miz and Mrs. coming back.
Okay.
So
yeah, makes sense.
That's the way I look at it. Okay. But regardless, I really did enjoy this segment.
Yeah,
I think that
good promo.
Him coming out, going off, saying he hasn't cared about anybody, doing the classic heel stuff, including the fans, and then not necessarily challenging Miz. I like that he was like, "This isn't a challenge.
Yeah,
I'm your boss.
You're gonna do
this. Is the match we're having." I thought that was great. I thought that was a nice touch.
What I thought, interestingly, and who knows, this is interesting the way his heel promo went too, when he talked about how people want to get close to him to get something from him and blah blah blah. And on the heels of what broke yesterday, that scandal with Lori Loughlin and with Felicity Huffman and William H. Macy and all these rich people, like this idea of needing to be close to the rich people to get advancement in life. This kind of mirrored what Shane was talking about, how so many people want to get close to him because he's the boss's son to advance in this career of professional wrestling. I thought it was a nice little topical touch for his promo.
I agree. Man, that story is so crazy.
That story is nuts.
It cracks me up when it said that in the story that kids didn't know, but then Lori Loughlin's daughters got like accepted onto the crew team when they had never rowed before.
Right, she never rowed before and was never going to row.
That was my favorite thing. I was like, wouldn't you be a little suspicious?
Right.
Like, wouldn't you how did that happen?
Right. And then she released a video saying how she doesn't care if she goes to college or not. You're just like, oh my God.
Oh, shut up. Really?
Yeah. It was a year ago. It was like a few months ago. It was like a few months ago. They unearthed it, and she had gotten so much shit for it online, and that somebody else found it, and then she issued an apology saying she made careless words, and then somebody else found it and brought it out later on yesterday, and that video is excruciating to watch in context of what happened yesterday. Yeah.
No, I was trying to pull this up so I could bring it up too. I said this to Thad yesterday too because it cracked me up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a tweet from Felicity Huffman.
Oh yeah, that 2019 mood. That one?
No, said it was from 2016, and
okay.
It said, "What are your best hacks for the back to school season?" And then someone quote tweeted it and said, "This did not age well." And I was dying when I saw that yesterday.
It's tough. It's crazy.
Yeah, no. My favorite. The craziest part about the story is that people have been donating to colleges. Rich people have been donating to colleges since colleges began to get their kids into the school.
Right.
You can do that legally. You don't have to do it illegally and do it under the table in a cheater way. Buy a $15,000 bench like everyone else does. That's
was way more extensive than it needed to be. Jared Kushner's dad paid $2.5 million to Harvard so Kushner could go to Harvard. His grades were terrible, and he got in there because of that. Well, they weren't terrible, but they weren't Harvard level usually, so they paid it. So why couldn't everybody else have done that? This was way too complicated. By the way, I know it's not wrestling, but we're just having
every rich person has done. I've heard of rich people doing that. And openly,
there are legal ways to do it.
They literally just openly like, oh, we bought this $25,000 plaque at the library.
Right.
Just do that. You don't have to pay $6 million, Lori Loughlin. Keep your Full House money.
Right. It's the premise of one of the best 80s movies ever, Back to School. Thornton Mellon, right at Dangersville, buys a wing of that university and then gets to go to that university. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
It's legal.
I also didn't know Lori Loughlin was married to Massimo.
Yeah, I did not know that either. My girlfriend pretty much made fun of me for about 20 minutes last night for that.
For not knowing that? Oh, that is that. No.
You know, a dude should not be knowing Massimo and who he's married.
I mean, I know who Massimo is. I know the brand.
Yeah, right. I know the brand.
I couldn't tell you his face.
Yeah, right.
I know the brand, but I didn't know that she was married to the guy who started Massimo. I thought that was interesting.
Lori leveled up, that's for sure. Stamos,
sorry,
go
Uncle
away.
Jesse. Yeah.
Massimo, here we go. All right, let's move on. Ricochet, Aleister Black, and the Hardy Boys took on the Bar, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev in a nice 8-man tag. I enjoyed this.
Did that
this was a lot of fun.
The Usos
oh, yeah. You want to talk about the promo? Yeah, sure. I was going to get to it afterwards. But yeah, we can talk about the promo too. Great coming down the steps.
Badass.
Saying the stuff that they were saying, then rolling right back up the steps. I dug it.
Very badass. Yeah. I think, man, they are making the Usos look way more badass than they've ever looked.
And they're making themselves as well. You know, it's a combo of both, and I love that.
It's funny for me to know that they're negotiating with various people in the company trying to get them to sign new deals. Not their contracts are expiring, but they're trying to lock people down to new 5-year deals. And it's funny for someone like the Usos who are openly, who it's very known now that their contracts expire soon, and WWE trying to get them to sign.
Let you know that,
Rikishi put it out there, but beyond that, it's been known, and I like that. It's funny to me when you see a team like that who I've always thought was awesome. Like, I've always thought there should be way more push for the Usos, but it's funny to see when they get an actual push while the WWE is trying to get them to re-sign. You know, like, this is the coolest they've ever looked.
I agree.
I hope they keep them going like this.
Thoroughly agree. I love that they've come into this kind of like tweener type approach to it, because, you know, they're faces, but they're doing heel type promos, that badass stuff and the rapping and everything like that. It's kind of got a heel vibe to it in that they're like, you know, standing strong, and I love that, and it's a good combo. So to me, I want to see it going as well. I didn't like their first run as champions. I thought it was a bit too early for them, and they seemed a bit out of their element at times with the promos and the matches. This is a Usos team I 1,000% love, and the promos as well. Really says something strong about them.
Yeah.
But the 8-man tag, I enjoyed the 8-man tag. This was fun. Good to see Nakamura and Rusev getting involved again. You know, and then everything breaking down with the New Day storming in and having all this go down. This was a lot of fun to watch as well. Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely. I mean, literally every guy in this match is a great wrestler.
Yes.
There was it was impossible for it to not be good. Even in all the moments where it broke down and they were trading off moves and stuff like that. I really, really enjoyed this match. I laughed during that one part in the match where Jeff Hardy was trying to get his shirt off. And it was stuck to his hand. And he's trying so hard to get it off. He's just like, screw it. And he goes to the top rope with the shirt still stuck to his hand. And I like it because that's how stretchy his shirts are. That he's like tugging on it to get it off and it won't come off his hand because it's just too stretchy. And he even does the swanton with like his shirt attached to his hand, and then when they all dive on top of him, it's still, you can see his hands like up and there's still like a shirt attached to it. I was laughing so hard the whole time when that was happening, but the match itself, I mean, it was a great match. All the guys involved killed it. I was super into it. I also you know, we talked about it the other day. We talked about it yesterday, but just Aleister Black and Ricochet are really coming across as just stars. It sucks. I feel bad for Johnny Gargano that he was only brought up seemingly in a tag team. Because he's just been.
Because of Ciampa's injury, they couldn't do anything with him.
He's been non-existent. Like, they literally haven't done anything with him since. And it's weird because Johnny has had such an interesting, like, He had such interesting teases with the main roster, because I remember when the cruiserweight guys were first going to come to Raw, and they were playing those ads, like the cruiserweights are coming to Raw. Johnny Gargano was one of the first ones they played a vignette for, and then he wasn't part of the people who came up and stayed in NXT. And now once again it was like, we're bringing all these guys. Here's Johnny Gargano, our North American champion, and then he loses the North American championship on NXT, and then is just non-existent on WWE TV, and it's like, well, that sucks. I found that interesting, but what do you think? What do you think they're going to do in terms of roster wise? Where do you think, brand wise, where do you think Aleister Black and Ricochet will end up?
Well, it was something you said yesterday stayed with me. This idea of maybe the roster split is done with this deal, and I wonder if this is what that Aleister Black and Ricochet are their trial runs for this. Is they're the guinea pigs to see if the fans are cool with them being on both shows constantly, and Becky Lynch to a lesser degree as well, showing up on both Raw and SmackDown recently, but they're actually fighting, Aleister Black and Ricochet. Do the fans still go with them from brand to brand and still support them and still go? Because there's a situation where they could win both tag team titles and have like the SmackDown and the Raw tag team titles. What's that all about? So I think they're using this guinea pig for now to test it out. I think it's coming, and people forget there was a time when we didn't have the brand split.
I prefer when there wasn't a brand split.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I always grew up, and I like that I could see the Rock on SmackDown and the Rock on Raw. It was like part of it because you have these amorphous rivalries that you can do, and it helps the company overall because you have the best rivalries going constantly, so they keep you watching both shows. It's like what they do in comics, right? There's one thing like Civil War, but then there's all these other comics that are connected to the Civil War that you normally wouldn't buy, but you buy because you want to take part, you want to know what's going on so you can come back to the next issue of Civil War and have some more knowledge. I think that's what the brand split kind of destroyed. And so putting it back in motion, putting them all together and still you could still have a Raw SmackDown show. I think it can still work. So I'd like to see it happen. We'll see.
It's interesting because I also remember when they announced the brand split was happening again, and I dreaded it. I just dreaded it. I remember being like, I hate this because it never ends up working.
And you're always pitting the shows against each other when that sucks too. And they're all on the same.
They're
roster.
all friends.
Yeah, they're all friends. They're all in the company.
I definitely, when they first announced it again, I remember being like, this never ends up well. They always come back to the way it was.
Right.
And, the argument is that, you'd never have you wouldn't have Daniel Bryan as champion right now. You wouldn't have this Kofi Kingston thing. You wouldn't have a lot of these things because you could only focus on X amount of storylines when there's one brand, So I get both arguments.
But I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore. I think with the creative the way it is now, you could have storylines that bleed into both, no problem, and storylines that just seem to exist only on one side of the fence. You can have the best of both worlds if you set this up correctly. And I'm talking about a whiteboard, like you set it all up correctly going forward. Every week you've got this thing laid out. I think it's absolutely possible. You don't have to be one thing or the other. You can be both. And I think this also is a larger conversation, Ryan, with what we've been talking about, this idea of there's not really the face heel much anymore. It's much more a tweener situation now in the WWE. So why wouldn't the brands have that same kind of tweener situation and be connected, but also have their own exclusive things that exist on that side of the fence? I don't think it's negative.
I wouldn't be against it. I just think that with the Fox deal, I have a hard time believing that with the Fox deal, they're getting rid of the brands. I just think they want their own brand.
Yeah, and that's fair. But
I see what you're saying. If it's set up the right way, you can still
keep the brands. Yeah, and because the worst thing you'd want to do is Fox does only exclusively one brand show, and then you're like, well, what if I blow up on Raw? Do I now get moved to the SmackDown show because I blew up on Raw, or if I blow up on SmackDown, do I get moved to Raw?
No,
I think that's the dangerous thing.
I do wonder that as well, and I think it's some of the things being worked out because and I also wonder if this is partly the reason why they're floating the NXT guys is, let's say the Fox deal is for SmackDown only.
Yeah.
does that mean?
And that's been some of the rumors.
Does that mean if they want to produce other content with WWE, with their talent, are they only allowed to use SmackDown wrestlers?
Right, it's a good question.
You know, like, because
what's in the contract? Yeah,
that is something I'm wondering, because I mean that doesn't. That's also, I feel like, not something Fox would be down with. I feel like they want to have everyone. So I don't know. I'm very interested in the details of that thing as well. I've asked around. I don't know. Christian
was talking about the WWE did some new deal yesterday, and they signed a new deal with somebody. Is there anything that I missed?
Eminem?
No, not Eminem. No, we know that's not happening. But I thought he was mentioning something before I got off on Collider Live. He was mentioning that the WWE signed some new deal recently, but maybe they haven't. So I don't know. Sometimes.
About do you don't remember?
No, I don't. That's why I was asking if maybe something's on the tip of your tongue. So, all right, let's move on here. This was nice. New Day doing the thing, they're cleaning clock. Where does this lead to, do you think?
Serious New Day, and I'm into it. I like them kind of giving a serious tone to New Day. Angry New Day. It's funny because that's kind of how they started. Yeah. They started this way, and then it morphed into fun-loving New Day. Right. But I like that we've now come full circle, and they're back to being angry, and they want what's coming to them. Yeah, I think it's good.
You said a few weeks ago, like, we've seen everything New Day can do. We see, they are what they are, and they're always just, they don't even need to win titles anymore. They're just a firmament. Now this is something you can play with, right? Yeah. Kind of like Shane. Oh, Shane, let's see what you could heal. Serious New Day is a new color to play around with. We haven't seen for a bit, so it should be fun.
I mean, I think Big E. I say Big E. Langston because when he was Big E. Langston, that's when he was more serious.
He was.
When he was the NXT champion, he was dope. Yeah. Like, Big E was dope as a serious singles competitor. So I'm kind of glad that they were giving him, they let him run with it. Because I also think that, him and Woods also stand to gain from Kofi having singles success while New Day stays together. Yeah. So I think that, I believe that this was a nice change for New Day. And it was even better at the end of the show. So I feel like we'll be able to discuss it much more in detail.
Yeah. AJ Styles is next. Randy Orton came out, did this whole promo, and then AJ Styles came out once again, kind of topical, said, oh, your daddy helped you get into this situation. Your daddy did this, or Triple H gave you the rub, that kind of stuff. Whereas AJ's like, I've had to work my ass off to get here, blah, blah, blah. And Randy was pushing back saying, no, I had to work too, blah, blah, blah. So these nice conflicting theories or philosophies about life coming together here in this match. So, or in this promo off, do you think this will end up leading to a really good match at WrestleMania?
Yes, I think that this was fire segment.
Yes, it was.
This segment, man, this segment sold me on their WrestleMania match in one segment.
Yep.
And that doesn't happen to me often where I was like, sold. Give it to me. I want it now. And with WrestleMania being 4 weeks away, that was needed. Yeah. This is one of those matches that instantly just became must-see. It's King of the Indies versus Mr. WWE, you know. I think that is a great way to sell these two in a match at WrestleMania. I think that even if it felt like AJ Styles and Randy Orton read each other's Wikipedia pages, I think that at the end of the, regardless, it was still awesome. You know, it was like, the Dixie Carter reference.
How would you make a Dixie Carter reference on the WWE? Incredible.
And the like you said, the daddy got you the job type stuff.
Right.
All of it. They did. This was. It's possible this is maybe the best segment AJ Styles has been involved in since he was in WWE. Well, Samoa Joe stuff was pretty good, too. I was
just going to say, the Samoa Joe stuff was really cool.
Samoa Joe stuff was really good, too.
Yeah.
But maybe just the best. I'm going to say it. No. I think this was the best promo that AJ Styles has cut.
Okay.
Because while the Samoa Joe stuff, great segments.
Right.
I did think some of the promos involved were a little bit like I'm a bad dad, like it didn't really never made him sound good
or repetitive.
Yeah, it was, but a lot of it was like it didn't make him seem cool.
Yeah, right.
This one made AJ Styles seem like a badass.
Yeah.
He was like talking crap right to Randy Orton, who to the wrestling fan is known to be a little bit of a loose cannon.
Yes,
and to just kind of like be giving it right back at him and be like. I also thought it was interesting that they were mentioning the indies so hard on WWE TV.
Yeah.
It's not often where, AJ Styles was champion for a long time in WWE. at this point, you can't really refer to him as like an indie guy. You know, I mean, he was WWE champion for a very long time.
True.
So it was interesting to me to kind of like for them to be like, you're an indie guy, and to kind of be using it as an insult, and then to have AJ Styles say it's not an insult to be an indie guy, which in WWE world, it's definitely an insult to be an indie guy.
Right, and that's what I think is so fun about this promo. It kind of touched on real shit that goes on behind the scenes sometimes amongst the wrestlers. Yeah, you're a product that was made in this company. I earned my bones in front of like gymnasiums and backyards and wherever I could do this, armories and shit, so I could get to this point. But you were crafted from birth to be here,
which is so weird to me. And it's
right. Well, don't defend one side or the other.
Oh no, I'm gonna defend one side because I do think it's a weird thing. Like I don't think that's a fair thing, and it 100% happens.
Of course it does.
That is a very real thing in the locker room of the indie guys. Kind of sometimes, not all, but there are some who resent the ones who didn't come through the indies first, didn't go to ROH, didn't go to PWG. And I really just don't think that's fair. It's like you can't judge someone's passion for wrestling based on, you know, the way you perceive their life.
Right.
You know, what the journey they took to get there, you know, because what they thought was smarter. You know, a lot of these indie guys are hurt by the time they get to WWE.
Yeah.
You know, it's just because you were able to leap forward doesn't mean you should be looked down on because of it, in my opinion.
Right.
But it's 100% a thing that happens. So I also liked them playing it up on TV.
Yeah, I dug it too.
Because even AJ going like, hey, I don't know who looked around, but like almost all the guys back there are indies.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was funny. And also I was just surprised to hear them point that out. You know, it's weird. It's not often it's not often that Vince McMahon would like his superstars to be referred to as indie guys.
Yeah, but you gotta change with the times.
I guess
fans are way more aware of indie promotions than they were before. Ring of Honor, AEW, and NXT not being indie but feels indie. You know, you have a lot of these all the way. NJPW, people are more involved now in knowing the indie scene than they were before because of social media and because of internet. You can have more access to it than back in the day.
If they have rich companies behind them like that, are they technically indies? I mean, Sinclair Broadcasting's a $1 billion company.
That's a whole separate conversation.
TV Asahi has a $1 billion company.
Right.
Khan family, $1 billion family. I don't know if you. I struggle with that sometimes on like whether that should be referred to as an independent company because they're not independent.
They said
they own company by billionaires.
They said the prequels are independent films because George Lucas funded them all himself.
Oh shut!
I'm telling you, people say
referred
that
to Star Wars as an independent film.
Not the prequels, because he funded them all. He directed them, he wrote them, and he paid for all of them, and then distributed them through the studios.
You can't call a movie with that kind of a budget an indie film.
Well, what's the definition? Definition is you pay for it yourself.
Just a little small indie flick. Just a little small indie flick. Revenge of the Sith.
I can afford better special effects. That's all. All right, let's move on. Asuka and Sonya Deville going at it here as we kind of got teased at Fastlane. This breakup of Fire and Desire. Where are they going to end up? It looks like this three-way match that you were mentioning is going to happen. Once again, Sonya lost here. I thought Sonya wrestled well here, and then in the end, Mandy turned on her to a degree, not fully, but to a degree.
It was teased.
It was teased. So we see what's happening. Asuka gets the victory. You know, I don't know, man. You know, you got to put her in a program, but it seems lost that she's the champion because really nothing can eclipse at this point what Charlotte and Becky and Ronda are doing. So she's got to do her thing here, and yeah, it'll be a nice triple threat match. I think
Mandy's gonna win the.
You think so? Really?
The women's title at WrestleMania. I think they're gonna go that way. I mean, they're putting so much more effort into Mandy than they have with Asuka since she regained the title.
They did. They are.
And even prior to that, they had been doing so much with Asuka, with Mandy and stuff. So. Yeah, I feel like Mandy wins the women's title at WrestleMania. Okay. But, you know, I don't
want her to do it.
Why?
She's not ready.
You were like...
That Fastlane paper...
You were like championing the future.
The push.
Mandy.
I can champion the push. I don't have to champion the result already. I want to wait for a little bit. And the match I saw at Fastlane did not make me excited to see them do it all over again at WrestleMania. So, and Sonya's still green as well. So it was like, they're asking Asuka to not carry, but certainly carry both of these ladies in this match and see what they got. And I hope they don't make her carry to the point where she loses the belt.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
it's WWE.
You're right.
I didn't. Love this finish though. It was a little clunky.
Yeah.
It was a little clunky with the apron thing. I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to play off of the apron thing the night before Fastlane. I just was like,
was that a mistake though? By the way, do you think that was?
No, I think that was
on purpose.
I think it's what they're going
okay,
for. Right. I think the Sonya thing was supposed to be a mistake.
Right. Okay.
And then I think the Mandy thing was supposed to be like her angry that that Sonya did it to her, so she kind of like did it on purpose.
I just thought it was ironic that slip was the best sell she had through that whole match in Fastlane. And I'm sorry, Mandy, but it was. You'll get better, but it was in that moment. Yeah, you thought it was clumsy, and you wonder if they made this thing work as well as they could have to get you hyped up for this match.
I think that's what they're going for. I think they're trying to, but it really does seem like they're trying to get Mandy. This seems to be like the crowning moment of Mandy at WrestleMania.
Okay.
I also believe that I also liked the ending with just kind of like the Sonya looking like should I trust her? Should I not? Right. Clearly, this is going to be Sonya's storyline on Total Divas.
Yep.
The coming out of Sonya Deville.
I like it, so to speak. All right, Becky Lynch comes out, does her promo about the man, says everybody got bold while she was injured, says she's back to knock some heads off, says it ain't good. Charlotte comes out, challenges her, then Becky comes back at her saying, you had 4 years, you didn't do shit. It's time for the man to take over. Good back and forth, but nothing necessarily stellar. I think we've seen the best of what we're going to see between these two until we get to WrestleMania. It seems like.
One thing that I loved about this was Becky finally getting rid of that stupid crutch.
Yes, which she threw away.
She tweeted saying, "I hate that crutch too," or something like that after Fastlane, because everyone was like, "Enough with this crutch."
Yeah.
Like,
it was
come
too far.
on. It's like, move on from this has been 2 months of being on a crutch. Like, no one does that, for not a real injury. So I like that she came out and Tiny Tim the situation where she was just like, nope, toss it to the side, and she might as well have done like her Irish jig afterwards, from the old NXT days. But it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't bad.
No, not bad at all. They always put on a good promo, these two.
I do agree with you though that they. It's when I watch this, it's just weird to me because it's like they've done so much to make Charlotte cool.
Yes.
And they've done so much to make Ronda Rousey look badass. But they've done so little to keep the momentum going of Becky being cool.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's just because they don't have a firm grasp on cool or what her character was, but it's weird because, and I know that I'm going to have all these Becky fans in the comments that are getting mad about this, but Becky was cool when she was being rude, not when she was like doing it for the fans. I mean, this whole the man thing got over because she stopped giving a crap. And when I see this, last night's promo, it felt like the old Becky Lynch. It didn't feel like the man. It felt like what we used to see from Becky Lynch, which is not bad.
No.
I'm a big Becky Lynch fan, but it's not the man. It was not the man that we've normally seen, in my opinion.
It still had the edge that she's been bringing to her promo since she became the man.
Well, they were hitting the points.
But I agree with
the
you.
Weirdo, knock your head off. They were like going through her Twitter feed to write things that she says, but like it just didn't feel. I don't know. It didn't feel like badass to me, and that was the whole thing of Becky Lynch, was she was like a badass. Yeah. She wasn't Daniel Bryan. She was Stone Cold. And I'm not saying she was Stone Cold, but you know what I mean? Like
I would say that she was close to becoming it.
She was more on that way. And now they try to paint her as Daniel Bryan. And it's kind of cooled her off a little bit, in my opinion, which sucks.
It has. We've been saying this for weeks on the show, that they have kind of fumbled this whole thing with Becky, and they've been they've been quicksanding her with this stuff because of how they have like gone, okay, now go be face. And I was like, well, no, the whole point of me being a face as I turned heel was doing the heel stuff and the fans being behind it. And now you're telling me to do the face stuff, and the fans will still be behind it, but they won't be behind it as a unique thing like it was when I first came out, the organic thing that it was. And they're pissing it away. I think they've got Becky established, so they want to push this they wanted to push the Charlotte thing at her expense. Now they want to push the Ronda thing at both of their expenses. And we'll see if they get it all right by the time we hit WrestleMania. But we've got the triple threat match. There's no way around it now. And so we'll see if they hit the right. I just don't. We'll see all the right notes before they get to the WrestleMania match, so that we have a fantastic match and the winner gets the natural reaction that you want from the crowd. We'll see.
If if they cool it off too much in the next 2 weeks or so,
Yeah, that's my fear.
and it doesn't main event the show, people are going to be so mad.
Yeah.
People are going to be so mad.
Right now, it seems like it should main event the show, but you've still got Rollins Lesnar. And you wonder if they're going to make that the main event of the show.
I mean, it's been so implied on TV that it's going to end the show, but it definitely hasn't been said outright.
Nope, it hasn't yet.
And obviously it's because they know Vince.
Yeah.
And they know that it can change at any minute. So I don't know. I think that...
Send in Lesnar. and will Lesnar go, no, I want a main event? Is Lesnar going to throw his weight?
Lesnar's like, I think Becky Lynch should main event over me.
Yeah, no, he's not going to say that.
No.
Of course not.
No.
All right, Samoa Joe and Andrade took on Rey Mysterio and R-Truth. This was an interesting match. I liked it for what it was. Good to see Zelina getting involved again with Carmella. Rey's outfit was interesting. I've never seen Rey wear a thong.
Wild. He looked like a blow-up doll.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a little getting close to kind of some bondage, sexual stuff. I don't know. I didn't like it. It was uncomfortable.
I don't know about bondage.
I'm just like,
but it definitely looked like he had a G-string on.
He had a thong
like
on.
It looked like he had like.
How does you look?
That Total Divas episodes account posted a GIF of from Seinfeld where George is in the bodysuit and it's like, hey, bodysuit man, and I was cracking up because that is so what it looked like. It looked like he had a bodysuit that painted on a G-string.
Yes.
Rey Mysterio has had the coolest gear since
usually
returning.
Yeah,
this was the biggest miss probably ever.
This is like seeing those pictures of Oscar De La Hoya in fishnets. You're just like, no. You must have some Latino brothers in the back going like, no, that is a thong, my brother.
Like, how did nobody in the locker room say to Rey, hey, brother, that looks like you're wearing a bodysuit that painted a G-string on it. Yeah. Like, how did nobody in the locker room say that?
Yeah.
How did nobody say it? How did the gear maker not be like, look, hey, I like this design you sent me. I like the idea of where you're going with it. But no. Yes, the gear did make this match hard to focus on.
Yeah, it was a little weird. 1,000% weird. But Bray did get the victory here over Samoa Joe, pinning him. Samoa doing the classic thing of kicking out right at the end. So it's not a full clean pin, but got it. And then Samoa flips out, starts slamming everybody. I guess we're setting up Samoa Joe. Is this a 4-way we're going to see at WrestleMania again? Or is this?
Yeah, it's weird because they're doing these multi-man matches when it seems like they're building towards a multi-man match.
Yeah.
I hope it's going to be a ladder match.
Oh,
we don't have Money in the Bank at WrestleMania anymore. Perfect. And we've already been getting these multi-man matches with them.
Yeah.
What if it's a ladder match?
I like that. I like the ladder match. I like that whole idea.
Like Samoa Joe, Andrade, Rey, R-Truth. I feel like I'm leaving one person out, and John Cena.
Oh.
Because they've been talking about John Cena so much with this United States title right now.
Yeah.
Mustafa Ali, that's the other one.
Oh, Mustafa Ali.
Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, okay.
Unless you're going to do Mustafa Ali versus Owens?
Yeah.
I've been really wondering what they're going to do with Owens. Even this episode, I felt bad for him. I was like, man, he was in a title match and then just not really much after.
Yeah.
He was in a throwaway tag match.
Yeah, we could jump to that now, Kevin.
No. Is that next?
Yeah, it's next.
I didn't mean to.
No, it's all right. It's perfect.
No, but before we jump to it, I do feel like that's the United States title, right? That seems like that's where they're going with it, right?
Yeah. A ladder match, a 6-man ladder match makes so much sense.
It does, right?
I agreed.
Okay.
And if they don't know what they're going to do with Ricochet or Aleister Black, throwing one of those guys in there would be a lot of fun too.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Do you like the Aleister Black, by the way? Do you like this whole?
Oh, I love it.
That he's still doing it.
The only thing I don't like is that in NXT. They did a better job of like hiding the thing that was making him lift up. So it looked a little more cool.
Right.
In WWE, they're like very clearly showing that there's like an elevator lift thing.
I think that's what bothers me about it. Because you can see, you're like,
And they're trying with the smoke. They're trying to cover it a little bit.
How about no close-ups? How about that? How about a little farther away so you don't see it necessarily? So you can see him coming up. Like with Rey, they never shot. They rarely shot from
down
the top,
into the hole.
Yeah, to see him jumping out like that. It was always great to see him jump out like that.
I've been wondering how you can do that better because they do need to figure something out.
Yeah.
Maybe even shooting it like where Del Rio's car used to be on the side of the stage or something to kind of like, just to like, I don't know. It's just so obvious on the stage. I feel like for some reason, I think the NXT one is a little more, I don't know what the difference is, but I do think that it'd be a little They need to do something to cover it a little bit.
Yeah, it just hit me this time. I was like, I'm kind of bothered by this. All right, Daniel Bryan and Rowan, they took on Kevin Owens and Mustafa Ali. This was a good back and forth, nice match. In the end, Bryan and Rowan took this one. What is this? And you asked this question, what is this a precursor for? What is the precursor for? All these men coming together. Is Rowan going to be involved in some way in the Daniel Bryan thing? Is Rowan going to do his own thing? Where does Mustafa Ali go? Where does Kevin Owens go? If you throw Kevin and Owens and Mustafa Ali into a 6-man tag for the U.S. title, great. But what does that do for Kevin to win that title? It doesn't do much.
Nothing.
So why bring him back if you're not going to get him on the road to something,
I agree. That's kind of how I felt with this match the whole time. Like I enjoyed it for what it was, but I just didn't understand what it advanced. Yeah. I don't understand I really don't understand what they're going to do with Mustafa Ali or Kevin Owens on the road to WrestleMania. Yeah. Right now, they just kind of feel there.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's great.
The injury from Mustafa Ali kind of hurt his
he clearly
momentum.
got replaced by Kofi in all of this.
Yes, right.
Which sucks, but it's the reality of the situation.
That's the business.
It's the business.
Stay healthy. However you can.
Well, it's funny too when I don't know if I forgot. I don't know if I brought this up while talking, but I was listening to Kazim Family on the Wrestle Rap podcast that he used to do, that he's doing again now. And he did an interview talking about WWE, and I'm almost positive that's where it got mentioned, but he basically said the reason Mustafa Ali got brought into the main event scene was Daniel Bryan, like, one day at SmackDown, basically knocked down the door, like kicked in the door and was like, hey, I have nobody to defend my title against that is under 40 years old. This is ridiculous. Like, nobody here. And he like started complaining about all the like top guys there. I'm like, there's nothing fresh for me to do. I'm champion. And there's no one fresh for me to go up against. And so he was like, then they kind of made the decision to bring up Mustafa Ali. But I like that it was Daniel Bryan doing that kind of thing. So clearly it has been Daniel Bryan who's been trying to like bring new faces in and stuff. And it's funny because Kofi ends up taking the spot, who is the oldest one, but still fresh opponent.
He still feels young.
Yeah. It's a fresh opponent regardless.
Sure.
But yeah,
do you think they were going to put the strap on Mustafa though?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they were going to put the strap on him, but I do think that they were going to give him a really big push.
Yeah.
And I think that right now it's like, well, now what do we do with him?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I think that I feel like obviously winning the United States title would be big for him.
Yeah.
But that's what I would do, to be honest with you. I'd put him in that ladder match at WrestleMania. I'm saying it as if it's a thing. I would put him in a match at WrestleMania for the United States title, like in a multi-man match, and have him win the United States title.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. There's an interesting world where Becky Lynch never got her nose broken and Mustafa Ali never got injured. And I wonder what that world would look like now.
Me too.
Walking into WrestleMania.
I really wonder what that would look like as well, because I don't think she would be Becky would be factored into WrestleMania at all. Right?
Oh, you think they would have just had it end with the situation with Ronda there?
At the time, that was not in the cards.
Right.
At the time when she turned heel, it was supposed to be strictly to give Charlotte something to do, to get Charlotte ready for Rousey at WrestleMania, and they were going to do Charlotte versus Ronda, probably main eventing the show. That was the plan.
Right.
So Becky was definitely got lucky, and it's been great for her career. Because everyone needs a little bit of luck.
You got to be. You can be lucky to get the opportunity. It's what you do with it that is great.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it sound like she's been lucky, like everyone needs to get that lucky break. Like right place, right time.
This is Kofi's.
Yeah, this is definitely Kofi's.
That's why you don't understand sometimes in competition. You just never know what's going to happen in those moments. And even in scripted fake wrestling, or wrestling rather, not fake, but scripted wrestling.
Who are you, Ronda Rousey?
Yeah, sorry. I don't want Strowman to choke me. Yeah. But even in those kinds of things, people legitimately get hurt. People legitimately lose momentum or have shit happen to them, and they get they lose their spots. Right? There's another world where they didn't mess up the McIntyre and Strowman push, and they've got something going on there as well going into WrestleMania. So it's just the way it goes sometimes, and you're subject to so many whims in this business. You just never know what's going to happen. So when the opportunity pops up, if you don't grab it by the throat, you may not get another one.
I honestly don't know what they would have been doing with New Day at all heading into WrestleMania.
Oh, good point.
Right?
Maybe hosting again. Who knows? Because it's not like tag wise they're going to be probably doing something. Right. So
Yeah, they got lucky. They got lucky, and it's been awesome to watch.
Yeah. And Kofi's been fantastic. And speaking of Kofi, now we go into this gauntlet match next week that Vince announced. Good God, all these guys he's got to. I thought it was kind of lame, though, for me personally, because I'm like, he already went through a gauntlet match. Now, because it organically was fun and people loved it, you're like, oh, let's do it again. And it's like, well, how much does he have to prove here? I get they have to fill time and, fill the bill.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of it.
I guess so. But then what happens if he wins? Is he going to get another gauntlet match? Is it going to be gauntlets all the way to WrestleMania?
I wasn't fully paying attention. Like, I shouldn't say I didn't catch it, and I meant to go back and listen before we started recording.
Yeah.
But I think Vince said to him, if you beat these guys, you're going to WrestleMania.
Right, but Vince has changed his mind before.
He didn't say you're in the title match.
Oh, right. He said you're going to WrestleMania.
You're going to WrestleMania.
Just like they put him in Fastlane, and there was a triple threat against the Bar.
So I think that's where they're going with it here, is that he's going to get through it. He's going to beat all of them, and Vince's going to say, yeah, you're going to WrestleMania as the peanut vendor or something along those lines. I feel like that's the direction they're going towards right now.
Well, let's spend the last few minutes talking about this whole New Day promo.
This promo
Vince. Talk about it.
Was phenomenal.
Yeah.
This promo was proof that tag teams can be taken seriously.
Yeah.
That tag teams can be the focal point of the show. They all shined here, from Biggie just kind of like being the main talker the whole time, to Woods chiming in, to finally Kofi, who was staring a hole through Vince McMahon the whole segment. Literally didn't break eye contact with him once. Just the whole time Vince was talking, just mad dogging him, and I loved it. And then when Kofi spoke, it was powerful. It was like, hey man, I've done this for you. Like, I need to know what I can do. I need to, I haven't seen my kids ever go trick-or-treating. I didn't get to see my kid be happy for losing his tooth. All that stuff. That's the kind of promo that was like a Dusty Rhodes-esque, like hard times promo, and
hard times on Dusty,
and I loved it. I loved it. I think that people were like, oh, how could they do this to Kofi last week or at Fastlane and again a little bit last night? And I think it's crazy to think that way, because clearly Vince McMahon is all about Kofi and pushing Kofi right now.
Of course, he wouldn't be doing this if he didn't 1,000% feel that this was a great way to go and he was behind it. And so you love that Vince is pulling out the old Vince, the corporation versus the up and comer. It's the Daniel Bryan notes, the Stone Cold notes. It's all the same beats.
How great was it that Vince said that Daniel Bryan called Kofi a B+ player?
Right.
Oh my God. I was hoping they'd do that, and I'm so glad they went there with it to fully cement that this is reverse Daniel Bryan's storyline, where now Daniel Bryan is the one on top, holding the little guy down. I love it. I love it. I love it. I thought that the line where Vince was like, you'll go into the Hall of Fame one day, but not alone.
Not alone.
With these guys. I was like, oh, it's so mean. Why would you say that?
Was that a shot? Do you think that was a shot? Well, the fans complaining about China and DX and all that.
100%.
You think it was a shot?
Oh, it was clear. Yeah. Vince was real meta in this promo. I don't know if you caught the other part of the promo that was pretty meta, where he was like, you surround yourself with these two young bucks while they do all the work and you take all the glory. You don't think that was a little bit of a shot at Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, where he was saying Kofi's like Cody and New Day or Xavier Woods and Big E are like the Young Bucks?
I did not see that deep into that one. Wow.
But it was.
Damn.
What do you think it was? Of course
makes sense.
Come on, Vince didn't just randomly say the Young Bucks.
Totally makes sense.
Come on, like what's the comparison there? It's clearly there. Kofi, longtime WWE wrestler. Cody, longtime WWE wrestler. Attaches himself to a popular tag team. Starts making tons of money. That's clearly what Vince was trying to say there. It was super shot. I think. Okay. I don't care if anyone goes, AEW Mark. I'm telling you, that was a clear shot.
I loved it.
I think that I actually really enjoyed them calling all the people out for the gauntlet. Yeah. Because it was such a classic Vince move, where it was like, all right, but you got to beat this guy and that guy and that guy and that guy and these guys and that guy. And like, I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah. I think that if Kofi's going to be a main event wrestler, if he's going to be a champion, these are all things that need to be done to get him there.
This is all, and it's ironic because like what you said, the Daniel Bryan B+ thing. Also, what did Daniel Bryan have to do? Run the gauntlet himself at that WrestleMania to be the champion, right?
And yes.
So you see the beats repeating themselves.
And I also think that, in my opinion, Becky Lynch was already over as for the position they need her to be in, but they didn't see it.
Right.
So they've been trying to throw all these things to get her over when I think that it's been counteractive to what she needs. Kofi, while beloved, I don't think he's been seen as a main eventer to most.
He's been fun.
He's been fun. He's been beloved.
Right. The Royal Rumble stuff.
Everyone loves him. The Royal Rumble thing. So to see that like he's getting a glimmer of the title really got everyone pumped. And he does need that juice behind him to make it something that people are going to actually champion for. So I love all these things they're throwing at him. While I'm not enjoying the Becky Lynch stuff as much. But yeah, this segment was great. It 100% continued the build to Kofi. I did find it a little hard to take him seriously while he has a cape on, like a silver cape, and he's like talking real seriously, like getting angry. But other than that, everything else about it I love.
Yeah, and I love Vince once again doing that meta stuff, saying no one's handed anything. You got to earn it, and blah blah blah. And so I love that he had to make his point.
Or him saying, "There's nothing justifiably bigger than my ego."
Yeah, that's true. Which was great.
That was so good when he said that line, and also when he said, "I created Raw, I created SmackDown, I created WrestleMania, I basically created the heaven and earth." That was so good. Such a classic Vince line. Like he was throwing him out. He was just on fire last night.
It's perfect. He's so Kofi's got to fight Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, The Bar, and Rowan in a gauntlet match. That'll be interesting to watch to get his shot at WrestleMania. Like Ryan said, I don't know if he said specifically at Daniel Bryan, but he certainly said that's how you get to WrestleMania.
I have to go back and listen, but I had a few people that tweeted, I saw on Twitter that said like that pointed out that Vince started the promo saying you have to listen to everything I say, and ended it by saying you'll go to WrestleMania. You'll be in the WWE Championship.
We'll see.
I have to go back and watch. I could be wrong, but I saw a few tweets saying that, and so I feel like that's something they would do.
This is how they took Shawn to the title. This is how they took Edge to the title. This feels very similar to how they're going to take Kofi possibly to the title. So I like it. I'm 1,000% behind it. All right, we'll see what happens. And of course, everything broke out at the end and as they went to commercial and ended. We'll see what happens next week. Thanks everybody for watching this SmackDown Live recap for the Pro Wrestling Sheet. Ryan, tell them where they can find everything.
ProWrestlingSheet.com, that's the website where you can find all the stories that we break throughout the week or that we post, other breaking news stories. We put up a story last night about Eminem denying that he's reached any sort of deal with WWE and a bunch of other stuff. So make sure you go check out the site, ProWrestlingSheet.com. It's at Wrestling Sheet on social media, YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's the YouTube channel. That's where we put up these Raw and SmackDown recaps, Wrestling Sheet Radio every week, and other various videos. If you're there, hello. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure, though, while you're there, you comment. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the various things we say on here. I read them all. I try my best to respond when I can. I'm just very busy here in the office, but I definitely read them out all. Also, while you're there, please subscribe, like the video, share it if it's something that you're interested in. All that sort of stuff really does help. But if you only want to listen to the audio, make sure you subscribe to our podcast feed as well. It's Wrestling Sheet Radio on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all the major media platforms.
Yeah, I like, I love the coverage you have for X-Pac, Tennille Dashwood, what's going on with her, and I love what you've got, the Dash Wilder stuff. You guys wrote about that as well. So good information. You're going to get on there and follow it and subscribe to us. Follow him at Ryan Satin. Follow me at The Rocha Says, and hit us up and we'll talk about wrestling with you. You know we love your theories and your thoughts and your opinions. All right, have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you next week for the Raw Wrestling Recap.
ProWrestlingSheet.com